I don't know if you're ready for an episode or not, but I am. So here we go. Hello, and thank you for checking in with us. This is Stuff I Heard with Josh Peak. I am your host, Josh Peak. I have been out of town for the last couple of days working in Savannah, Georgia. My job, I don't talk about my job a whole lot on here because I don't think I should mix both worlds, but my job is I am a CDL delivery driver trainer. And there are times where I need to go out of town to work at one of our drop sites to help out, either check on some drivers that we have to help them get a little better at their job, or to train some new people. And it just so happens that we are growing. We are a growing company, and we had a new hire that I needed to go down and ride with for a couple of days. The weird thing is, we talk about time management a lot, but we don't actually manage our time. What I think is, what's the term? Proactive? Yeah. I don't think we look at time management proactively. I think it's always reactively, and there's lessons to learn as you go through things. There are times where you have to do whatever you have to do, and they're not always what you're supposed to do. I know that doesn't make any sense to anybody who's not in this world, but there is a thought process that we can gauge and monitor time for everything that we do, when in fact we can't. We would like to think that we could, on paper and on a computer, have things narrowed down to the smallest details and go, this is how much this time takes. This is a unit of measure. And in reality, it's not. In reality, there is circumstances that come up where you have to do whatever you have to do. And it costs something. It always costs something. So, long story short, I ended up working about 36 hours in 2 days. Not super thrilled about it, pretty tired. I had an experience at a hotel, was staying down there, and I woke up the first morning with bite marks all over my legs, and my first thought was, oh no, is this bed bugs? I don't know what bed bugs are. I'd heard about bed bugs in the news, but I thought, what have I gotten into? And I thought, okay, wait a second. Am I overreacting? How would I know it's bed bugs? So I went and I uncovered the bed and looked in between the sheets where I slept, and I didn't see anything. But again, I have these huge bite marks on my leg. They kind of look like, I've gotten ant bites before, and you know how ant bites kind of look like pimples, like they're ready to pop. It's topical, it's like full of some kind of, I guess, venom that your skin is reacting with, and it pushes it to the top of the skin. This looks like that, but it's not that. It's bigger. It's way bigger. It was very painful too. I had one on my ankle that was probably 1 inch in diameter around, and it was raised up to a head, and you could tell that inside the head it was full of something, some kind of poison or venom or whatever you call it, and I could not get any relief from it. It felt like my ankle was on fire. I didn't see any bugs in the bed. I didn't see any bugs in the room. The room was nice. You know, I don't know what it is. I looked up bed bugs on the internet, and it's not that, because bed bugs, apparently you normally, if you have bed bugs, they get on your back. They're in a line. Usually it's bleeding. Usually it's the sheets have blood on them. That's how you can tell. These sheets were clean. There was no blood anywhere. So it's not bed bugs. It could have been some kind of bug in the room. Something may have bit me that night. This was a nice room. It had like a separate couch area. I was sitting on the couch watching TV at a certain point, and something could have bit me then. I didn't notice it till the next morning. I don't know. I do know that on Sunday, I hung around here at the house. I went to church, and when I got home, we ate lunch, and I got on the road. And I didn't feel anything bite me then. So I don't know. I don't know how it happened. All I do know is that the infected area was so big, I had to take a knife and like push it out of the skin, because I felt like if it didn't come out of the skin, it was going to drive me crazy. It hurt so bad. I was able to push it out. It was yellow and hard, and I don't know what it is. Being out of town, I didn't have a whole lot of stuff with me to treat it with. Although I do carry a bag full of stuff, I was able to take some ibuprofen. I was able to take some Benadryl that night. Also, I had some triple antibiotic ointment. I cleaned it out, made sure it was clean as best I could, and then put some triple antibiotic ointment on it. I did that all day on Tuesday as well. When I was able to get home, I came home and took a better look at it. I washed real good. I have this stuff that I use in the shower. It's called Panoxyl, I think it's called. Panoxyl. It's a cream that you're supposed to use on if you have like any kind of body acne. There was a time where I used to work in an area that was very humid all the time, and I didn't dress appropriately. I started this job and they had Carhartt shorts and pants available, and I'd always heard that Carhartt made really durable stuff, and I usually break through all of my clothing. I'm very rough on everything I have. Shoes, boots, socks, clothes, shirts, whatever, you name it, I find a way to tear it and break it and whatever. And I figured this was no different. I'm doing a very physical job. I need something that's going to stand up to it. So I bought these Carhartt shorts and pants, and what they don't tell you is that Carhartt is not really breathable. So I ended up getting, for lack of a better term, swamp nuts. I know right now some people are like, ooh, gross. Yeah, it was gross. When I realized that was what was going on, I had changed underwear, and I changed the type of shorts and pants I was wearing. I went to something a little more breathable, something what I call user-friendly. Not to say that there's anything wrong with Carhartt. I'm sure there's a great place for it. I know a lot of hunters wear Carhartt when they go out because they're very, very durable, and they stand up to like walking through briars and stuff. They don't stick to you as much as if you had like denim on. But let's face it, denim is a little more durable when it comes to breathability, and that's what I needed. I needed breathability. But a side effect was I ended up with sort of a weird fungus growing in my skin, and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was some kind of discoloration, and I'd gone to see a dermatologist about it, and he was like, yeah, just wash with this stuff and it'll help clear it up. And it did. So I thought, okay, let me wash with this, with these infected spots on my leg that look like they were bite marks. I have a brush in the shower. I sudsed it up and brushed it as best I could. Made sure to have some pretty warm water on it. When I got out, it was still like inflamed. I could feel the heat from it inside my skin. I was like, God, this is just driving me crazy. And of course your instinct is I want to scratch it, but you don't want to scratch it, because if you scratch it, it ends up spreading if it is something like a bite mark that has some kind of poison in it. So you don't scratch it. I did have some hemorrhoid cream in my cabinet, and I thought, okay, well, this is supposed to be for an infected, inflamed area that irritates you, and it's supposed to take the inflammation out and soothe. And I thought, what have I got to lose, right? So I put it on those spots, and it helped. It really helped. The infected area, the swelling went down, the redness went down, the pain went down. It was throbbing before I went to bed last night, but I put it on again this morning because I thought, well, that was a good dose. Let me do it again. The more the better, right? And I put that on there, and everything's fine. Now, I know at some point I'm going to get some kind of survey from the hotel saying, how was your stay? Now, I will tell you that if I didn't have the bites, my stay was great. The hotel is nice, although it does have that weird smell. There's something about a hotel that's owned by, for lack of a better term, Indian people. I don't know if he's Pakistani or Iranian or whatever, but there's a general incense type smell that is weird to me. It's not normal. My house smells like detergent and and whatever scented Scentsy pot that my wife has going on. She's got all these different scents. Right now our house smells like lemongrass and something else. I don't know what the other smell is, but it smells completely different than some weird incense spice burning. That's what this hotel smells like. Of course, now that's pretty much the case any hotel you go to. So there you go. But like I said, my hotel stay was fine. I don't mind the hotel. The bite marks make me worried to go back there. There is times where I have to go down to that drop yard and work out of that drop yard, and it makes me not want to stay there anymore. I know that's probably nothing to do on their part. I wrote them a note and put it, when I returned my key, I wrote them a note and I said, hey, this is the room I stayed in. I don't know for sure, but I think there's bed bugs because I woke up with bite marks all over my ankles. Now, what they do with that, I don't know. Maybe they'll go investigate. Maybe they'll look at the room and possibly find something that needs to be taken care of. I don't know. Again, I looked at the sheets. I didn't see anything, but I did my part. So, glad to be back home. There's something, I know this is probably not what people want to hear, but hey, this is stuff I heard, so this is stuff you're hearing. I know that for a lot of people, whenever you're away doing something, your body is not used to the diet that you're on. You're not used to the routine that you're on, and so your body tends to have trouble regulating. And I was happy to come home and be regular again. I was able to have some coffee this morning, some of my coffee. I made a point to my wife that, you know, I can't have coffee when I'm out because the coffee in the hotels are terrible. It's not the coffee that I drink. And she's like, well, we could get you one of those single serving Keurig things and you could carry it with you with some. And I was like, no, because that's one more thing I got to carry. I got to carry a bag that I carry when I'm on the truck with somebody. I got to carry, paperwork with clipboard. I got to carry my own pillow because I can't sleep with hotel pillows because they make them too soft. They make them so that your head squishes in the middle of them and it makes my neck sore, and I can't have that. I got to have my pillow in order to go to sleep. I got to carry a bag full of clothes. I got to carry my work boots. I got to carry a cooler because now I'm on this keto diet and I got to have enough food prepped and with me so that I'm comfortable. And I got to have all this stuff with me. And I don't want to have to carry around a coffee pot on top of that. I mean, I get the fact that she's trying to be helpful, and I'm thankful. I mean, she's thinking about me, which is great. But at the same time, I can't just add one more thing to it. It'll make me crazy. I'm one step short of like needing a pack mule to help me go into the place and, have some guy that I go, excuse me, sir, can you help me settle this up? A team of people move in and it's a production. This is a production. Whenever I do a podcast, it's a production because I'm trying to do the YouTube thing as well as do the podcast. And I had a couple of weeks of trying to do it live on YouTube, and I got to tell you, it's a little distracting. I know it's distracting to you as the listener because I'm not concentrating as much. I'm also seeing things pop up where people are writing in, and I need to do something different with that. I'm learning, so bear with me. This is all. No one gives you instructions on this. I'm figuring this out as I go, and I get notes from you guys, and I appreciate that. I do have a thumbs down guy, which I'm kind of proud of. VW Darren on YouTube used to put out these videos that were at the least amount 30 to 45 minutes. I mean, he puts these long videos on there, and a lot of it's him walking around his shop talking about things he's going to work on. His wife comes in there and asks him questions, and he's like, what? Yeah, okay. And I love it. I love it because it's not produced. It's not planned. It's kind of what I'm doing. It's a stream of consciousness thing, but it's on YouTube, and he does this incredible body work and this incredible engine repair stuff. And if you get a chance, go check out VW Darren. I think he's down in Deltona, Florida. So in the summertime, it's ridiculously hot. But he puts up some awesome videos. There's a lot of good information on there. He teaches people how to do things. It's worth a watch. But one of the things that is part of it is, where was I going with this thought? I lose track of my own thought. See, if I had somebody with me, they'd go, get back on topic, dude. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Anyway, go check out VW Darren. He's a heck of a guy, and he puts out these really long videos. And I'll be honest, I skip through some of them quite a bit because I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, and I'll kind of skim ahead to see where he's at. But still love you, dude. Keep up what you're doing. I had one lonely farmer write in a couple times and say he wants to be part of the podcast, and I don't know if anybody follows him on social media. He has a Instagram account as well as a YouTube page and a Facebook page, and if I'm not mistaken, he just had a little baby. His wife just had a little baby. So congratulations, dude. I'm sure that's an exciting time in your life, and I look forward to talking to you at some point on this. We can definitely make that happen. I have a lot of requests for me to do one with my dad, and I'll get around to that. I also have a personal request that I want to do one with a guy I work with, Byron. I saw him last night on my way out the door. I was leaving work last night at around 9 something, and he was coming into work because he works through the night. Byron, I know you're working, buddy, and I know that you're taking care of business, and I definitely want to have a moment to sit down with you and brainstorm with you and do a podcast with you, and I'm sure that you can do it. I had a really cool comment recently on my YouTube page. Somebody wrote in and said, hey, I don't know why, but I started your podcast and I put on my headphones and I closed my eyes and I thought I could listen to this dude all day, and which is really weird since I'm a guy. And I thought, well, that's got to be one of the coolest compliments I think I've gotten so far. Thank you. One of my goals here is to build a community with you guys, the listener, and to have you be interactive in some way. I am still looking for guests. It's hard to line up schedules sometimes. I know that it's a lot easier for celebrities because they have something to promote all the time. For a common person who's just sitting around in their house, it's a little different. It's a lot harder to talk people with a regular, I guess you'd call it 9-to-5 job. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I have a 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. job, if that helps you understand what's going on. But, you know, it's hard to line up schedules with people sometimes to say, hey, why don't you come over and do a podcast? Or, hey, I'll come over and do a podcast with you. It's a little hard to do schedules on a regular person's work schedule. I listened to, let's talk about stuff I listened to, because this is stuff I heard. I was able to listen to quite a few podcasts while I was driving down to Savannah, Georgia. I listened to this Keto for Normies. It is done by Matt and Mega. They're the people who own the Keto Connect website. If you ever thought about going on keto and you're curious about it, go check out their website, Keto Connect. On there, they have recipe ideas, videos. They got all kinds of fun little stuff to go along with it. And I listened to their episode number 55, Weight Loss and Beyond with the Keto Diet, Jimmy Moore. Jimmy Moore is the second part of the interview. He comes on and talks about how he's been talking about keto for a very long time. And it's very helpful. He talks about the fact of if you're looking to do this diet because you want to lose weight, it's really not the goal that you want. The idea of the diet is to lower your insulin levels and to live a healthier lifestyle and to bring your body back to a diet that it's supposed to have, not one of these, newer progressive American diets that's all sugar-based and corn sugar-based. It's pretty good. I also listened to Nerds Who Get Laid Sometimes, their most recent episode. Pretty darn good stuff. They're getting better and better the more I listen to them. I don't know if they're getting better or if just my appreciation of what they do gets better. It's interesting to have 5 people sit around and converse about things that they're enjoying in life. They call it nerding out on things. Is there a difference? I don't think so. It's a pretty good listen. I enjoyed it. There is a lot of entertaining stuff between the 5 of them. There's inside jokes. And they sort of have an inside joke with my buddy Greg Steele. Greg wrote in on them on something on their Facebook page, I think, and they pick on this guy named Brian a lot, and Greg chimed in, and ever since then they thought Greg is the funniest, and he is the funniest. That's why we're friends. Greg, if you're listening, love you, dude. Miss you. My buddy Greg had a big concert with his band 95. Check him out on Facebook, NINETY5, the number 5. There's some live feeds. Check them out. Tell him I sent you. Listen to Bert Kreischer's Open Tabs on Friday. He put one out, and he talks about his special coming up on the 24th. August the 24th, Secret Time on Netflix. Check it out. There is another one that he's put out recently with Jim Florentine. I haven't listened to it yet, but I did listen to Perry Noble's Second Chance Church. He put out a podcast from the sermon this past Sunday. The podcast is called Second Chance Church. This is when life feels like it, don't quit. And the it is short for something else. It's a good podcast. It talks about Ruth and Boaz and how their life wasn't turning out how they'd hoped, but there was a bigger picture involved. There was a bigger thing that was going to motivate them and move them, and how God was at work in their lives and motivating them in a direction. And sometimes our lives can get to where we feel like we're losing control and we're not going on the path that we're supposed to go on, but there may be a reason. It's pretty good stuff. Pastor Perry Noble, he's got a knack for speaking, and he's a great storyteller, and I highly recommend checking him out. I also listened to Joe Rogan Experience, episode 1155, an interview with Henry Rollins. That is amazing. Henry Rollins is a great interview. He makes a comment that he's getting close to 60. And for those of you who don't know Henry Rollins, when I was a kid, Henry Rollins was the lead singer of a punk rock band called Black Flag. Now, I didn't listen to Black Flag when I was a kid. I knew guys that were into the punk rock stuff, and they wore the jackets with the patches on it, and Black Flag and Ministry, and all this other stuff. Back when Metallica was not cool, back when Metallica was not mainstream, they had patches from Metallica and Slayer and stuff like that. Black Flag was one of them, and Henry Rollins was this angry dude who was very muscular, all tattooed up. And my first introduction to Henry Rollins was on MTV, where he had a video called Liar, and he would scream this main lyric with, you are a liar, and he's like painted red, and his neck is just like he's angry, and he's like, ah, and he looked like his neck was as thick as my thigh. The guy is intense. And I thought, holy crap, this is what punk rock is? I'm impressed. But Henry Rollins also, he talks about in this podcast how he got into doing like spoken word poetry, or talking about, like a story form version of talking about things that he's experienced being in a punk rock band. And at some point he had gotten a MTV show called the Spoken Word Tour, or the Spoken Word Show, or something like that. I found it one night flipping around the channels when I was a kid, and I was mesmerized. I thought he was an amazing public speaker. I thought that what he had to say was inspiring and passionate, and it drove me to want to be creative. For a lot of reasons, he's sort of the idea that I used to have in my head of what controlled anger was. And in this interview, he talks about how if he had one word to describe his motivation to be creative, it's vengeance. Not revenge, but vengeance. And he talks about scenarios that he has in his head of how, this thing is going on and people say you can't do this. So screw you, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to overcome, and I'm going to be the force that reckons, and you can't tell me what to do. And Joe keeps asking him, who's telling you this? And he's like, no one, it's all in my head. I know it's all in my head, but still, I have naysayers in my brain of saying this can't happen and you can't do this, and I go, oh yeah, watch me. He's motivating. I tell you what, this is a great interview. I loved it. I'm still inspired by him every time I hear him. This is the second time that I've heard him on Joe's podcast, and there's parts of it that I really relate to, and I'm sure that you could probably relate to it also. There is a moment where he talks about how he's more comfortable being in front of you than to be with you. He's like, I don't want to come to your family's cookout, and I don't want to come to your birthday party. I don't want to meet your friends. I don't want to leave my house. But honestly, if you call me at 3 a.m. and say I need you to bail me out of jail, I'm there. That's my jam. If you call me and say, hey, I need you to come to Ohio because this is going on, I'm in the car, buddy. You just let me know. And it speaks levels of his character where he's like, I want to be the Saint Bernard that walks up to you in the avalanche with the thing of liquor around his, the barrel of liquor around his neck, the Saint Bernard, like, here, buddy, I'm here to help. But he's like, I'm broken. There's parts of me that's broken. And he's like, I'm socially awkward. I don't have friends per se. I don't have people that I hang out with. I don't like to hang out with people. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I mean, he's like, I am who I am. I don't spend money frivolously. He's like, I have an accountant that tells me whether or not I have money. He's like, am I doing okay? And they go, yeah, you're okay. And he's like, as long as I'm doing okay, who cares? Who cares? I just want to do what I want to do. And he says sometimes that means I want to travel. I want to pack a backpack and go to a country I've never heard of before and be there for a week. And he talks about that on the podcast. He talks about how he has to sometimes hump in 40 pounds of water because you don't know if the water is drinkable in the places that you go. And he talks about having to bring food sometimes because he's like, he was at some place in Africa and he says, what kind of meat is this? And the guy goes, I think it's goat. And he goes, pass. not going to take a chance there. I can't have myself go down with an illness because of something I've eaten. He's like, but not to say that I don't eat the food. He goes, but when it's questionable, maybe I pass. And I totally get that. But his adventure and his way of looking at life is, I don't want to be the guy that you recognize and go, hey, you're the lead singer of Black Flag. He says, I drive a Mazda 6. It's blue. He says, there's nothing special about it. It's utilitarian. I wear shirts without labels on it, and they're usually gray or black. And I normally have sunglasses and a hat on it, and I don't want you to recognize me. I don't want to be that guy. He's like, I know I'm like, people tell me I'm supposed to be that guy, and it freaks me out whenever celebrities are like, oh my God, I've always wanted to meet you. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what to say because you're a big deal and I'm not. And, Joe talks about that a little bit. He says, I still freak out when I meet celebrities because I think, wait, at any moment now you're going to figure out that I'm a fraud. That I'm not a big deal. I'm just a regular person. And I don't know how to handle that. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, with celebrity, is that normal? Or is that something that you just happen upon? Like, I'm a big fan of Joe's. Okay, if I meet Joe in person, I'm going to be like, hey, Joe, I really appreciate all you do, man. I love listening to you, and you're a heck of a comedian and a great podcaster. You inspire me. That's it. That's all I want to say. I'm not going to be one of those people that freak out and, oh my God. I don't get people who have fandom at that level. That being said, I did get to meet Bert Kreischer this year, and I was kind of freaking out a little bit when he took the stage because I was like, holy crap, there's Bert. Because I listen to Bert a lot. I listen to Bert on his podcast, the Bertcast. I listen to Bert whenever he's on somebody else's podcast. And it's hard to spell his last name because a lot of people mess it up. It's, Bert Kreischer, Kreischeher. It's kind of hard to look up sometimes because people misspell it on their own podcast when they write his name. But I'm a big fan of Bert Kreischer. Hey, when I met him, I was able to shake his hand and tell him, you saved my life. Listening to you while I was driving a truck for years, I would fall asleep at the wheel. But you kept me entertained, you kept me awake, you kept me laughing. I couldn't wait to hear the next thing you were on. And that's still true today. But I needed him to know, like, I know that for him, he's just a guy, and he's doing the thing that he loves to do. He's being able to be creative with people. He's being able to hang out with his family, watch his children grow, be in their lives, create things. And every once in a while, someone comes up and says, "Hey, I'm a fan." It's kind of hard to swallow, especially when you're at my level now. I have people that are contacting me saying, "Hey, I'm a fan," and that is weird in such a weird way. I kind of feel like Joe. I'm like, "Hey, I'm just you. I'm just an imposter. I'm making this up as I go along," and everybody else can too. You know, kind of like the Incredibles thing where they talk about, you know, they wish everybody was special so that no one would be. This is sort of the way I think all celebrities feel. And like Joe says, if you don't feel that way, you might be a sociopath. So take that for what it's worth. I'm sorry I was sick for the last couple episodes. My cold is gone, as you can hear. My voice is back. I feel confident, and I'm breathing like I'm supposed to. You know, whatever bug I got, I think I got it from that Janet Jackson concert. Whatever bug I got, it has finally passed through, and I'm feeling like me again. I'm feeling like I have my energy back. I'm feeling like, I sort of think of it as when your back's against the wall and you got nothing to lose, and you're full of strength, and you know that the only limit to your own power is your concentration. I have not felt like that for a couple of weeks because of this cold, and I finally feel like that again. I finally feel like when you're a kid and you want to jump over a ditch and you go, "All right, we've got to really try now," and you feel that surge of energy when you jump. I feel like that. I feel better. I feel healthy. I feel like me again. So thank you for sticking with me through that. Sorry I caught a little something, but I don't think it's transferable through the earphones or through your computer, so you're in luck. I would like to say that I wish that I could have monetized my videos that I took of the Janet Jackson concert, because I put it on YouTube and it's gotten almost 400 views within a week. and I, whatever, you know, she's an artist, she's a legend, and good for her. I was just happy to be there. I'm thankful to Charles and Cindy for giving us tickets and bringing us along, and that was awesome. I enjoyed spending time with them. You know, that's what it's all about, spending time with each other. So thank you for allowing me to spend time with you and to be a part of your life, and thank you for sticking with me and keeping up with me. It really means a lot. I will continue to grow this, and I will continue to work on entertaining you, and I hope that everybody's doing well. If you want to drop me a line, write me. I'm at stuffiheardpodcast@gmail.com. I'd be happy to converse with you. Don't have anybody writing me right now on that, so yeah. I also have the Stuff I Heard podcast at Twitter, and YouTube page is Joshua Peak. You can find me there, where I'm sure this will be on there, as well as many other fabulous videos that you may or may not like. I get hate mail on YouTube now, which is very strange. People who just get on there and troll and talk trash to me, and I'm thinking, boy, I'm so glad there's a block button that I could just hit block on this, because you don't need to be on the internet. And I guess they're probably looking at me thinking the same thing, but I'm not on their page talking trash to them, so it is what it is. Anyway, again, I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for hanging out with me, and y'all take care. Thanks for listening. Oh, don't forget to, if whatever platform you're listening to me on, don't forget to review and rate, and hey, subscribe. I'm going to keep this up, like I said, twice a week. So far, this has been going for quite a while. This is episode 27, so we'll keep doing this. Y'all take care. Bye now. All right, I have just hit the button on the iPad to end it, and I got to add recording to episode. Boop. I'll publish this, and then I'll publish you guys on the video. It is good to be back home. I wish I knew what else to do on here. It's so hot outside. I mean, this is the part of the South that, ugh. I gotta go run some errands though. So, y'all take care. Again, thanks for watching. What else is there? That's it. Stay tuned. There will be more. I'll be back.